What's up, everybody? Disco Demonic Hydrophonic. I think we all go through times where things are a little rough, and right now it seems like could be a time when we're going to go through a lot of rough things, emotionally, physically, financially, and everything. And some of us can get close to breaking, like to a breaking point. I definitely had this experience yesterday. For me, these experiences in my life have proven to be either the most destructive or the most epiphanous, depending upon how I react to these things going on in my life, right? So normally in the past, because of things that were going on yesterday and everything ever just hit me at once yesterday, man. And I could have turned to drinking, criminal activity, or drugs. Since I don't do that anymore. It's still hard to not, I'm not like wanting to do like criminal activity and all that kind of shit, but it's still hard to deal with. You know what I'm saying? So these things were coming at me, man, and it was very difficult for me to deal with. I fucking felt like I was gonna crack, and it started mentally. Then it went into like a physical manifestation. I was like feeling very like I could feel my heart. My meditations weren't working the way they normally do. Everything was just like kind of just very difficult. Well, because of this, again, I had an epiphany situation last night, early this morning. So I woke up. I went to bed. I give myself Reiki maybe twice a day, at least once, depending upon the situation. Sometimes I forget, whatever. But I gave myself Reiki, and I guess I fell asleep. And so I woke up around 1-ish in the morning here. And then I wasn't, I could have gone to sleep, but I wasn't super tired. So I was like, well, and this thing was on my mind. Like I needed to figure out how to beat this that was going on in my mind. This anxiety that was inside of me, just like tearing me apart. I had to beat it, right? I had to figure out what I needed to do to beat it. And it's funny how I learned how to beat it, because it was by accepting it is how I learned to beat it. So basically, it's yourself. You're fighting yourself. You know what I'm saying? And so I decided that I'll go into meditation. And so I just grabbed my notebook, and I was kind of led into this. I felt that I intuited this. I needed to go into meditation. So I grabbed my notebook here. So I wrote down some stuff yesterday with what I was getting, like what was going on with me. And hopefully this helps somebody. So I started meditating, and ideas started coming to me. And one of the things I noticed that whenever I was having problems was with judging. And so the first thing I wrote was do not judge, like at all. Now, a lot of people think that when you say don't judge, it means don't judge other people. The thing is, when we judge because the way I'm kind of seeing it is like, is that, don't focus on anything physical. Okay. So the way I'm seeing it is that if you judge other people, it kind of gives you a mental, like, kind of lays down the mental groundwork to begin judging yourself. So what I started noticing is that, like, if I'm judging, oh, okay, well, blah, 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 this and that, or if I'm feeling lonely or whatever, and, you know, like, why does this dude, like, I'm fucking cooler than that motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Why does he got a chick or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, or why is blah, blah, blah. So it's not like, I'm not judging him necessarily, I'm more judging myself. So that's one of the things that I noticed is, like, whenever that I was judging other people, I was inadvertently actually judging myself compared to what was going on with them. And I think right now, being in this time, it's easier to do that. Like, you could be on Facebook, or you're watching movies and shit like that, you know, like things like that kind of come to play. And so, like, why does this dude have all this fucking money? Like, you know, he's not smarter than me, you know, like, what the fuck, why is he? So you end up downing yourself, you know, like, it's very easy to fall into the trap to where, like, well, then I must be a piece of shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, because logically you're going to run the course of, like, why this is, right? So one of the things I came across was not to judge at all. So just to be open, and be open for, like, anything, you know what I'm saying? And just that thought alone, I was able to drop so much of the stress. Like, you know what, man, everything is just what it is, you know, just whatever. Like, if I die from, if I get fucking coronavirus and die, what the fuck am I going to do? You know, like, I mean, I can't, you know, it's just something that's going to happen. I'm going to be precautious, of course, but, I I mean, what the fuck? What the fuck am I gonna do? Like, I'm just gonna fucking die, whatever, fuck it. I mean, I can't live my life being afraid of something that's inevitable, basically. Um, so then from there, be open to what emotional or judgmental manner. Don't focus on anything physical, be it yours or anybody else. Like if somebody's thinner or fatter than you, or whatever, blah blah blah. Like, so I would even say stay away from making fun of people, because it kind of does lay that precursor for yourself. So like, so later on in life you get, but this is just what I've learned. You want to apply some of this, do it. If not, whatever, fucking don't. The next thing I learned was this, and this is actually something that I've kind of gleaned before, or I learned before, that I really haven't, that I tend to forget quite a bit. So these are kind of notes for me, to things to remember whenever I'm like going throughout my day, or like in meditation. So don't judge as like helped with going into meditation. While I was meditating, I was getting these ideas and I was writing them down. So the next one is like, do not think in words. I think I've mentioned this before on this channel. This is the only channel I have, but so if you're gonna go into a meditation, so last night I had a meditation where I there's a place in Texas called Inks Lake, and Inks Lake, there's a dam, I think it's Inks. There's a dam, and then there's water, and on the other side there's like these fucking little ponds etched into the limestone, where there's these catfish, and these catfish are really fucking smart. They won't take bait. Like, it's really hard to catch them. Anyways, for some reason, I was there, and my meditation, and then I jumped into one of the pools, and like the catfish were like almost like I don't know if you ever seen The Last Airbender, kind of like the yin and yang kind of thing, but they were both catfish. One of them wasn't white or whatever. But from there, I went into like a subconscious mind kind of a thing, right? So, but I was able to go up and down, up and down. So, and this is going to kind of come into play later as far as me being inside of the water. So, like, what I learned was, like, do not think in words. Like, when you're going to go into a meditation, if you have like a specific question you want to ask, like your subconscious mind, or ask like just like search within yourself. This is when working within yourself, and you can apply it to working with like entities as well to make things easier. Is that you want to ask, don't think in words, ask the question before you go into like your quest, whatever form of quest you go into. Like if you go into like a tunnel and blah blah blah, ask the question first. And what I even came across is like, ask one question, only one question. You're going to have plenty of time to ask other questions later on in the future. If you try to put too much pressure on it, you're not going to get a clear answer to your question. So if I go in and I jump into the water and I'm asking like, okay, last night the first thing I asked was, how do I heighten my psychic abilities, and how do I have a strong, because I feel like I've had a Kundalini experience before, but I feel like another one's coming. And I've been told this by psychics, so people that I've worked with, and so like I'm like, how do I initiate this second Kundalini? Right, this I guess this is going to be a major one. The first one I guess it wasn't super powerful. It was weird, but it wasn't super powerful. So I'm like, okay, how do I do these two things? So then when I went into the water, I was told just to ask one question. So I was like, all right, how do I heighten my psychic abilities? So this is how you're going to go into the meditation. Well, for me, this is how I went into the meditation. Like, you ask one question. If you want to do another meditation later, and if you think about it, man, you got a bunch of days. Like, say if you ask one question a day for a month, that's 30 fucking questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, what else are you going to be doing? And so it's not, in like the larger scope of things, it's not that huge of being impatient is like the wrong way to approach anything when you're working with meditation and stuff like that. It's what I've gotten from this. So basically, it's ask one question. And then you go in, and then like, so that way whenever you start seeing images, if you see like a fucking blah blah blah, you know it's just at that question, so you know to interpret it based upon only that question. So if I go in, how do I enhance my psychic abilities, and I see a cat, I'm like, what does that mean? I didn't see a cat last night. I actually didn't see too much in my meditation itself. However, I did see a lot of things in the dreams now, so that's basically probably how how the universe, how my subconscious were interacting and talking to me. Hence the Hierophant, which is, I've been getting a lot of the Hierophant lately. I thought maybe I explained it earlier, but that was in another video. I deleted because it was too much bullshit. Sorry. I've been getting the Hierophant a lot in my in my tarot readings, and actually I've been doing the one card tarot just to kind of have a card to meditate on. And for the past 3 days, today excluded, has been the Hierophant or the Hierophant, however you pronounce it. So I thought that was very interesting. So ask one question, blah blah blah. Yeah. So another thing I got, which I wasn't sure to agree with, but what I've learned is to trust the universe and trust the Gnosis that I receive when I'm in meditation. So I'm trying to learn how to apply this now. So anyways, it basically says we are molded by our destiny, not the other way around. So basically, our destiny is set. And though we can go about it different kinds of ways and learn little things, our destiny is set. We are molded by what our destiny is. And this kind of goes into willpower a little later. So no matter what, we're going to reach this point or whatever, right? Unless something really just fucked up happens. But that is what is molding us. That is what is creating like our everything, basically. You know, I don't want to go into too much detail because, like, again, I'm still kind of learning about this myself. But this is the Gnosis I received yesterday was we are molded by our destiny, not the other way around. Like, we do not mold our destiny. We can change certain things, but our destiny is pretty much set. I know this goes against what I believe. So this is why it was kind of difficult for me just to accept. And it still kind of is. I feel like we should be able to have control our own destinies. Obviously, we're responsible for our own actions. But this is something I definitely need to think about. So, okay. Another thing, and so whenever I was in meditation, I noticed that when you hit certain thresholds of learning, and for me, I hit certain thresholds in the occult when learning. It's like I will be learning something, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm hitting like a dead end almost, man. Like I can't fucking. It's like I hit like I need to get something, but I'm just not fucking getting it. And the more I try, the harder it becomes, right? Until it just pops. And so this is kind of like what happened to me yesterday. This is what in meditation it was being explained to me, is that it's kind of like rising out of the water. And I saw this as statues. There was these statues, and I was one of the statues. And there were actually statues above me, and they were like these white marble statues, like Greek statues, and they were like rising out of the water. And I was on a tier lower than this one up there. There was like 2 or 3 up on the pedestal, like above me, and I was going up, and I was like, it wasn't my turn to rise up out of the water yet. However, it was it was coming, right? So I was starting to rise out of the water as I was headed up towards the water. Then I got this. It's like, even after we rise out of the water, because after you rise out of the water, all of a sudden you can breathe. It's like, wow, that's when like this epiphany happens. You're like, oh wow, this is what I've been struggling for. This is what everything has been for this. And you know, you're like, it's almost like if you're really deep in the water and you're kind of trying to go up and you're about to run out of breath, and then finally you just break the meniscus of the water, and you're like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that. And so you're just like, oh wow. And then from there you start floating up. And you're floating up into the universe and blah, blah, blah. But the next step isn't necessarily just everything is over. After a little while, you start realizing that you have not broken through the final meniscus because there's another one up there. And which at the bottom, when you broke through that first layer, what you thought was air was just the air from this next phase, the water. So it's like you're rising out of the water repeatedly, like over and over again. And so that's what I saw. It's like every time you learn a lesson, you break through, and then like you learn this lesson, everything's great, and you're flying and everything, and then things start getting more dense again, and then as you get higher and higher, you're like, oh shit, there's another fucking lesson. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought that was it, but no, there's another fucking lesson. So then you have to break through that meniscus. So it's a continuous thing. You know what I'm saying? Which was really fucking cool. I thought that was really awesome. So it kind of sets things like for me, it set things in my mind. So it was like, hey, you know what? There's more things to come. It's cool. You know, like don't worry about it. You're gonna keep on going. You're gonna keep on going, and Basically, that's what I got from it. As you rise of the waters. Okay, so then the next thing was going to be like willpower, like how willpower works, like how to focus it and make it work the best for you. So willpower would be something like I know a lot of people talk about willpower, but they don't really say how to. In my experience, there might be like tons of books written on it, and I just haven't read them. But like how to actually strengthen your willpower. So maybe I asked this question subconsciously or what, I don't know, but this is the answer that came to me. So basically, when you're working on your willpower, let's say you have 2 points. Let's say like the planets. There's one planet right here, you're right here, and there's all these other little planets that you want to avoid. You want to get to this planet, right? So the best way to get to that planet is not to think that, okay, I gotta dodge all these planets to get around to get to this planet. Your main point is to get to that planet. It almost reminds me of chess. Like a lot of people when they're playing chess, and I just had this, hopefully I don't lose this original thought. But when they're playing chess, they're like, oh, I'm going to take this piece. I'm going to take this knight. I'm going to take this rook because he took my rook. You know, you get caught up in that shit. What they forget is the object of the game is not to trade pieces in chess. The object of the game in chess is to win by capturing the queen. That is the object of the game. So when you lose focus of the object of the game, you end up getting caught up in all this other shit that's like, you know, throws you off of what you need to do. So before you know it, you're like, the guy either beats you, or the person either beats you, or you stalemate, or, you know, because you're not focusing on what it is you need to focus on. So the best way to manifest your willpower is to focus on a point and work towards that point. And everything that comes along is going to come along. And when you lose focus, just always remember to focus on that point. Let's say if you want to start your own business or whatever now, which is going to be kind of maybe a bad example in this because of what's going on. But hopefully this will still kind of get the point that I'm talking about. So like, let's say you want to start your own business and you're going to have problems getting loans and all kinds of people. A bunch of people are going to tell you can't do it. A bunch of people are going to say you can't do this, you can't do that. Oh, I have a cousin who tried to do this and all this bullshit happened to him and blah, 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 blah. So they know fucking everything. All of a sudden, everybody's an expert on how to start their own business, even though none of them have actually started their own fucking business. And then you're going to have the one guy who did start his own business and fucked up some kind of way. And he excludes all the shit that he did that fucked up. And all he just said, like, you know, all he does is pretty much say that something happened, blah, 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 whatever, right? So you're gonna dodge all that, and all that will come, and you will dodge that as it goes. However, you want to focus on that point, and that's how you manifest your will. That's how you strengthen your willpower, or that's how you solidify your willpower into something. You focus on what the fuck it is you want and work only towards that thing. Things are gonna come no matter what. So my videos are getting longer. Anyways, so the last thing I saw was when I was done my meditation. I got the number 2, like it was 222, and I'm gonna post that. You're gonna see. I'm gonna use that as my thumbnail. 222 has been whenever the clock's shown 222, blah blah blah. When it comes to number 222, Venus is the ruler, which is very interesting because Lucifer is my main. The planet symbol is abundance and love. The number 222 is associated with hidden love and power. Encountering the number 222 in our daily routine could mean something new is going to happen in your life and should be ready for it. Now, these are not angel numbers. I got this from a site called Spiritual Unite. Maybe the Unity, but it's spelled Unite. Anyways, I'll leave a link in the description below. And it talks about what 222 means. So there's a bunch of stuff to go in here. I like that it kind of says, like, you know, it's a new beginning, because basically that's what I've been seeing with everything else. It's like a new beginning. I'm about to break through the meniscus of the waters. And and I feel so much better today. Everything was like, yesterday I had a hard time yesterday, man. Yesterday was hard every kind of way imaginable. I feel like I've worked through the shell, like, you know what I'm saying? And I work through the shells fast. I've worked with them before, and I kind of stopped for a long time, and so I'm going back into them now, and because of what I've been through in my life, it doesn't mean that it's still pretty hard, you know. So this lesson right here was a really, really good lesson. This is actually, I went through 2 cliff fall within 2 days, and then so this really hit. With my energy things, I got to do them pretty intensely to feel anything. So, but yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this video, share with your friends. If you hate it, share with your enemies. Sorry for my videos getting longer, but I have a lot to say. Thanks a lot. Take it easy.